But back to Keith Kellogg right now. The president more or less saying, General, you heard as well as I, that it's still too early to reach a conclusion. Staying in touch with our allies, those are all the sort of the checklist things you say when something like this is going on. But the bigger question is, what about Putin? Does he know, or anyone know, where Putin is or what's next for Russia?
Well, you know, Neil, one thing he didn't do, and I think I would have recommended to a president, they've got a hotline. Pick up the hotline and call them and say, what's going on? I mean, the fact that you're ignoring an adversary, somebody who's got more nuclear weapons than anybody else in the world, is going through an attempted coup and is fighting Ukraine, not having contact with him is foolish. Always talk to your adversaries. I think you should never not talk to them. And if I was recommending anything to President Biden, is pick up the phone and find out what's going on. Talk to him personally and see what's happening. And then you get a feel for the operation. Otherwise, we're flying blind, and that's what we're doing right now. It's real clear to me that that's actually what's happening in our intelligence community and our military community as well.
You know, General, the question, besides just, what happens to, Prigozhin right now in Belarus, but what happens to the Wagner Group? And it seems to be unwinding. And just going from that 11-minute audio that we were getting from Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner Group, he seemed to indicate that was the case, that this mercenary firm was, quoting here, bound to cease existence on July 1. So it goes away, and to your point, it's one of the few elements militarily that was effective, brutal but effective. Then what for Russia? What do you think?
Yeah, I think, I don't believe it. Look, that is probably one of the most combat-capable forces, organizations, that the Russians have that they're able to call in. They called them in when they had the really tough fight at Bakhmut, and they actually took the fight to the Ukrainians there. And I think it's foolish to say that. I think if they don't come up in some other name or form. But this is an organization that's also very closely aligned with the Russian military. They are the same bases. They get the same equipment out that they've got, the same kind of training that they get. So I don't see that happening. I don't know why you would get rid of an organization like that. And the real key guy behind all of this, again, is this guy, Dmitry Utkin, who's like the second in command to Prigozhin. Prigozhin's kind of the financier. So we'll have to see where it goes. I think the jury's still out on this. It's going to be interesting to watch this week. We'll see what happens when somebody surfaces. But I would just not discount that the Wagner Group is a fighting force. It's still intact. It's still capable.
You know, General Mikhail Mishustin, the Russian Prime Minister, was on the wires a little while ago saying Russia must remain united behind Putin. Other official voices that sort of echo what the Russian thinking or PR line is on this is that Putin's in charge, Russia's okay, calm down, things are fine, this is all going to plan. I'm sort of paraphrasing. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the other guy, there's two people I'd be watching really closely. A guy named Patrushev, who's actually his national security advisor, and Medvedev, who used to be the president of Russia.
Right.
They're both hardliners, but they're kind of standing in the wings out there. And I'd say, okay, let's see how that's being played. Do they have any comments from his national security team or anything from Medvedev? So you're kind of looking at how this is all playing itself out. But again, there was a very real coup attempt. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind they could have pulled it off if they'd kept pushing. So let's just kind of see. I think everybody is cautious, which I think is smart, because we really don't see how it's going to end up. And I'm reminded of there's a military phrase, the first report is always wrong. So let's wait till the second report comes in and find out exactly what's happening.
We might not know that very quickly. So then I ask you the question about China, which, is in this awkward position, probably being embarrassed by these developments, wondering, geez, what have we gotten into here? But by the same token, officially saying we support Russia, and et cetera, et cetera. So what do you make of how they're handling this?
Well, President Xi, I'm sure, is not going to create any professional and military forces like Wagner Group. I don't think that's going to happen in China. I think he's waiting and he's watching his junior partner in Putin and see what's actually going to happen. He's actually got no control of this. He's basically has to stand back and watch and make the best of whatever happens. But all along, Neil, I've said China's the senior partner to all this. They're just kind of accepting what's happening in Ukraine with Putin, but I don't think it's going to drive anything that they're going to do anything that is going to influence the action at all. Xi is very, very cautious when it comes to things like this. and he's a very shrewd individual. And I think he's sort of saying, okay, Putin, you're on your own on this one.
All right, thank you, my friend. I always learn a lot, not only for your expertise, but for your incredible service to this country. General, thank you.